Welcome back to Dum-Dums and Dragons, where improvisers who've never roleplayed before journey into the world of Dungeons and Dragons. I am the Grand Wizard Bukake, your host. The saga of Winchester has ended, with Mudbutt gifting his powers to Alyn and fading into the afterlife. Reginald swore his soul to Baba Yaga and saved Quinny's life, and Quinny used his hell powers to help slaughter Igneus Planteer, which wounded the seemingly invulnerable Captain Planteer. What could our heroes possibly face in the future? Find out next on Dum-Dums and Dragons.
So, it has been a few days since the party left New Winchester, and under kind of the bittersweet cloud of the passing of King Mudbutt and the sort of gaining of new powers and new friendships, you begin to make your way in the world. You have set out, again, with a vague sense of direction, vague sense of where you're going, but it is a long trek kind of back to the lands you know. And unfortunately for the Dum-Dums, you have a lot of pressing matters that are kind of weighing on your consciences individually. With so much going on, it's actually a bit of a frosty couple days, I think. There's sort of a day of contemplation as everyone kind of regroups and kind of resettles after the events of the bachelor party. Certainly being faced with Captain Planteer for the first time is an unpleasant new sensation. But as with any secrets or ill feelings, it doesn't take long for things to start to bubble over. So there have been a number of kind of biting comments, offhanded words, as I think everyone kind of gives each other space, but things are starting to come to a head as the party pulls into a small village just called Watch. And as you kind of take up residence in the local tavern, it's actually a fairly large tavern. You get the sense that Watch is pre the foundation of New Winchester, kind of a nice junction point along the road. So small, in the Witcher video games, this would be where you go to get a couple contracts, play like 2 Hands of Gwent, and then kind of be on your way. So not a big town by any stretch, a couple farms nearby, but the inn is fairly large. So 2 stories, all the rooms are kind of on the upper floor. Main floor is held for kind of a big eating and drinking hall. There's a small stage. Sort of a large central bar, like you see in university towns, so people can kind of approach it from all sides. And just a very pleasant smell of pine that seems to emanate throughout the building. You've arrived at Watch just kind of at dusk. Evening is coming, and the chance to actually get a good night's rest instead of kind of bunking down with the carts is what's in order. Also, now that you're out of kind of the wilds, a lot of these things that have been unspoken are starting to bubble to the surface, which is where we find ourselves today. So, having taken rooms in Watch, Annan managed to really score some sick deals, and for old time's sake, Dexter and Trax are doing an arm wrestling contest. There's a very kind of gregarious half-orc manning the bar, and she is inexplicably wearing like a Princess Cupcake level like frilly pink dress, and is just over the moon about everything, just very, very exuberant. So she set you up with your meals, and you kind of have a few minutes at the bar, or you can turn in for the night. Quinny, you in particular have made a decision about something you would like to do tonight that we discussed prior to the session. But I'm curious, Alyn, Juniper, and Reginald, what you think you'd kind of be doing before bedding down for the night.
I think Reginald would wait to see if anybody else had something they were going to say before he dived in. Or as I like to call it, the coward principle.
Quinny's just I think Quinny has been sitting in like an uncomfortable silence at the table, and he just downs his mug of mead, slams on the table, leaves a couple coins, and he says, "I'm turning in," and he'll leave the table.
Well, then, before you go, my friend, I hate to do this, but I really have no idea where we're going, and I don't believe anyone does, so perhaps we should sit down and try to hash this out. I've seen a number of priorities from conversations we've been having, and I think you could come up with a pretty excellent direction for us if we laid out a couple of options for you.
Right. Well, why don't you work on those options, and I'll decide on them in the morning.
Well, I mean, we've been walking for like 4 days, so I've really got them nailed down. There's a few, because, I mean, you really hate this Merle Streep person, so vengeance, if that's distracting you. Yeah. We have to kill the one of many faces, which we don't know how to do, so we could look into how to do that. And, I mean, that's sort of a both of us problem. We've got that Planteer ring, and the Planteers are trying to kill everybody with that weird captain guy who's looking for knockoff me.
Who has the ring right now? Alyn has the ring right now, right?
Yeah, Alyn's got the ring.
What? What are you talking about? There's no ring here.
Alyn has the Planteer's ring, and I'm worried it's affecting her memory. Lastly, the Fries, whoever those people were, they were also trying to kill you. And I assume me because I look like one of you. This is an incredibly unfortunate world in terms of me. So they're bad, but theoretically vaguely bad. So it's sort of like Merle Streep, Many Faces, Captain Planteer seem like our big three.
Yeah. What do you think, Alyn?
Definitely the captain.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, Merle, sure, but like...
No, yeah, I know. That's more a me thing than...
Like, let's be real. If we don't have time to, righting every single wrong against us, unfortunately.
No, look, if the rumors that we heard about, Phandalin are true from Butthole or Farthole, then yeah, he's the biggest threat. I mean, we saw him in the Oasis. He's more powerful than anyone we've ever faced before.
Now, just to play daddy's advocate from the side here. So, I mean, one of the things that's also worth thinking about, though, is like you're the king, you're the top general here, and if this Merle Streep thing's going to distract you, it might actually make you make a worse decision in terms of the planet. Like, do we need to do it first just to make sure that you're kind of flush?
I don't know. I'm gonna sleep on it, and Quinny leaves.
Gotcha. So with the decision to sleep on it, consider the options, and determine what to do in the morning, Quinny takes his leave at the table. You get the sense that he's distracted by something. You're not entirely sure what. Could be Merle Streep. It could be other affairs. You're not quite certain. Reginald and Alyn and Juniper, is there anything else you do before bed?
I think Juniper, she's still feeling like the odd person out here, especially because everyone just went on an adventure without her. She was kind of left out. I'm trying to think if anyone would have told her about Avalon Riker. I guess she overheard that, didn't she? She would have overheard that conversation, because I think that happened before the bachelor party kicked off.
Conceivably, Alyn, she could have asked Alyn at some point as well.
Yeah.
You have been traveling for a couple days now.
I would also say if Juniper was feeling left out, Reginald would instinctively try to create a friendship / establish himself as a vague authority figure, because that's sort of where he exists. So he'd be like buddy. He would have relayed a lot of info. He'd try to make sure she felt included, because I think he ends up being a semi-good general sometimes, solely based on, well, if she likes me, she's more likely to jump in front of a sword for me. So everyone's got to like me.
Cool. Why do
she
you...
wouldn't know
that,
that, but...
So I just... Juniper would be very much putting forth the idea of finding Avalon, because, I mean, ultimately, we gotta stop the Great Collide. And he's our closest lead, really, on what's going down with that shebang. And given that it's kind of like her purpose in life, she's all for that.
Great. So we'll say that she mentioned that to Quinny as well during the kind of priorities conversation. So that's in his thinking as he tries to figure out kind of what the next step might be. Cool. So with that, the party turns in for the night. There's still some kind of raucous stuff going on downstairs, but at this point you've all been through enough that a dry place with a warm bed trumps any amount of noise. Quinny, it isn't long into the evening before you hear Reginald kind of tromp into his room, close the door, and go to sleep. How long do you wait?
I think I try to fall asleep first. I think Quinny tries to be like, you know what, don't make things worse the way you tend to, but he just can't get to sleep. And so I think he's just lying in his bed staring at the ceiling, and he's finally like, nope, I gotta get up, I gotta do it. Okay. And I'll go to the door.
Great.
I'll go to the window.
Do you want to roll me a stealth check, please?
Yeah.
Ryan, what's your passive perception?
My passive perception is 9. He's literally the least observant man you can be.
Okay,
it's at
so
-1.
Quinny, you can wear a jangly coat of wind chimes, and you will still pass this check. Just don't roll a 1.
Yeah, he's pretty sure Juniper will keep him alive.
Oh, I rolled an 8 plus 13.
You piece of shit. Yeah, so with your coat of many wind chimes, you stealth around to and in through Reginald's window. Ryan, how's Reginald sleep?
I think it's kind of 50-50 on any given night. He either sleeps like a baby or it's endless nightmares, and it's never in between. So it's either great comfort or horror, like most of his life.
Well, let's say it's a comfort night then. And he's stretched out across the bed. Does he have like pajamas? Does he sleep naked? Like, what's his deal?
I feel like he's actually padded the inside of his armor so that he can sleep in it, because he's probably had so many other generals try to stab him or take his job while killing him that he's in a pile of blankets. Like, it looks like just a mound of blankets, but under it is just a man in plate mail that no sword stab could hit.
Is he just sweating in those bed sheets? Ooh,
that's gonna be stanky.
It's gonna be a bad day for the maid.
He says he's taking a bath every morning. He also has to do that in the full armor.
Oh my god.
That's a stressful morning for anyone. Quinny, you find Reginald asleep this way.
Okay. I take out some rope and I lash him to his bed, tying a special knot that thieves know how to use, basically varying kinds of different knots and stuff like that. I set the knot. I make sure it's good and tight, just so it like can restrict his movement. Mm-hmm. And then I'll even put like I'll like flick his nose with like a gag, basically ready to go around his mouth, just for him to wake up, so I can have him open his mouth and I'll just gag him.
Okay, that all happens.
Okay.
Reginald, I think as soon as you feel the ropes, you have a second of like just opening your eye at the sliver, and when you see it's Quinny, I think you just kind of opt to let him.
Oh yeah, he'd let this play out.
Let this ride, yeah. And then, sure enough, you he flicks your nose, your mouth falls open. Quinny, what do you do?
Just quickly reach around and tie the gag in place and just make sure that's secure. And while I'm doing that, I'm just kind of saying like, hey, look, I've got some stuff to say to you, and you're a real talker, and I just need to speak my piece and not be interrupted and not really have a conversation, if that makes any sense. I've just got some stuff to say to you. So I just finished tying the knot, and I like make sure that like the pillow's comfy behind his head and stuff like that. Like there's very, very clear and obvious menace to what he's doing, tying someone to their bed against their will and gagging them, but at the same time he's trying to basically make it as like cordial as possible. Mm-hmm. And Quinny will say basically, I want to talk about the bachelor party. There's a couple things that I feel like we kind of left hanging there because bigger things were going on, between Alyn and Mudbutt and the arrival of Captain Planteer. So I'm just going to play a real quick game with you. One that you taught me, actually. 2 truths and a lie. If you remember, we had a fun time doing that. Here are the 3 statements, and I want you to you'll get your chance to kind of figure out which ones are true and which one is the lie. Number 1, you are a coward, and your actions at the Oasis with the contract prove that I was right not to trust you. Number 2, I'm going to kill you if you endanger my friends or my kingdom with your reckless and selfish actions again. And number 3, I know you're scared. And you feel alone and that you can't truly depend on anyone without feeling like you're completely exposed and that you need an escape plan for any and all situations. You don't need an escape plan. You're getting in your own way. You're getting in the way of your own success. And the reason I know this kind of stuff is because, believe it or not, I have been in your shoes, where I was welcomed into a group and I did not trust them, and I didn't feel trusted, and I'm going to tell you where I went wrong. It took me a long time to learn this. Trust needs to be earned. It's not just owed to you automatically. Especially with a group like this who has been together for a long time and you're the new face and also the face of one of our killers. So I'm just telling you that because I've made a lot of mistakes and you're with us now, whether I like it or not, because of that damned contract. And so I want to see you succeed. I want to see you do well with the group. And I think right now you're doing things to really kind of get in your own way of doing that. I think that's everything. Oh, and you talk too much for someone who can't lie. You gotta, if you can't lie, you gotta play close to the chest by just lie of omission. You gotta try that out. That's just an extra little tip there. Anyway, this is a knot that I've tied here. It's a special knot for when you want to fake being captured. You can actually struggle out of this knot. You just kind of need to move your shoulders, and it'll basically worry it out. It takes about 10 minutes. Okay, so I'm gonna go. You can get yourself out of there, and I will see you in the morning. All right. Good night, buddy. And I'll just give him a little pat on the head and climb back out the window.
Tom, I would like to summon my pacted sword and teleport out of the ropes in front of him at the window. I don't need to hit him with any of it. I just want to use the teleport to escape.
The teleport comes with an explosion.
Well, I don't know that, so I teleport.
Shit.
Bam.
Okay, so you draw the packed blade out of your hand, and just with as much kind of like as you don't have a lot of room to move there. So it's kind of like a and the sword flies true, even though you threw it with little to no gusto. And there is a blast of necrotic energy around you as you appear in front of Quinny.
Cool. I do.
No, we're going to skip the damage. I'm giving you this as a freebie because I don't want you to blow up the fucking town.
I do look over and you have fucked up the bed a bit, and it's like, man,
Oh, yeah, there's
we're
swirling
renting
shit. Like,
these rooms, dude.
the classic, like, wind papers are everywhere kind
So,
of
like,
thing. And
what happened with the cold open for the campaign? Well, they blew up a town, so it's that now. Just throw this book out. It's fine. Yeah, so you appear in front of Quinny. What do you do?
Okay, so first of all, you didn't play the game. You didn't say which one was true and which one was a lie, and several of them gave conflicting advice. And second of all, tying me up as a sign that I should trust you is really confusing. And third of all, I would argue I'm not even a coward. I just actually say what everyone else is thinking. And they don't say it, so they seem braver than me. But they think about it all. I just tell you stuff so you can get ready.
It is wild that I went to all the trouble to shutting you up so I could talk to you, and you still figure out how to talk back. I should have written a letter. I overthought this. I should have written you a letter.
Or you could have said, hey, could we just talk for a minute?
It's not talking, though. It's just, this is what I have to say to you. And I don't want the feedback.
And that's when you hear the first scream. Alyn, you are settling in for the night. I think you and Juniper are sharing a room, just because there's a lack of rooms, and the two of you are both live in the same player's head, so it just makes my life easier. So you're both kind of settling in for the night. Juniper is sort of anxiously considering the Great Collide and all that. And Alyn, you're kind of wrestling with the very real possibility that you might have to confront your father again, which has you thinking about your mother and everything you just went through, about Mudbutt, your new dad, and also about Bryn. And as you're kind of cycling through these thoughts, it's almost like you can see her outside your window. Just like kind of the first time you chased her out onto a rooftop and you both fell. And I think in memory, it's very like adorable, kind of like family reunion meet cute, when in actual fact it was like really messy and involved a lot of swearing.
Yeah.
But then as you kind of narrow your eyes, you realize that, no, you can literally see Bryn outside your window, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense because you're 2 stories up. And that's when Bryn begins to pound on the windowsill.
Let me in.
Jesus, I benign transposition, switch places, and Misty step back into the room.
Okay, wait. Sorry.
You're doing what I did, which was I could have written a letter, and you could have just opened the window.
Yeah, so you switch places with her and then teleport back in? Is that what you're trying to do? I don't understand what you're trying to do. Sorry.
She wanted to come in, so I just swapped places with her.
You feel
And then Misty stepped back.
excruciating agony. You take
The fuck?
14 points of damage as both you and Bryn scream, and then you Misty fall back into the room with her still floating outside.
God damn
What the
it!
fuck? And I run to the window, like stagger to the window, I should
Just
say.
open the window and invite me in, please.
Yeah, Juniper just like opens the window confusedly as Alyn is teleporting around.
All right, you want to come in?
Yes, can you invite me in?
What do you mean invite? Why the fuck do you need to be invited in?
I need you to ask me to come in.
Okay, can you come in? Please come in. I don't know.
Thank you.
So, Bryn, you drift in through the window, and
What the shit is the drifting?
drift to the ground. Alyn, Bryn is wearing similar clothes to kind of what you recognize as Thieves Guild sort of infiltration gear, but they're pretty ragged. Looks like she's been wearing this suit for a while. The classic kind of like tightly bound to the skin kind of infiltration suit. She has an unfamiliar Thieves Guild marking that doesn't sync up with what you remember of the guild and the... Jesus, can't even remember. The Wanderers, I believe we called them.
Yeah.
So it's not a Wanderers icon. It's close, but strange. And perhaps strangest of all, you notice 2 things. 1, she's floating. And 2, her ears seem to be rounded rather than slightly pointed, as you recall.
Oh. Okay. So a couple questions. Where have you been? Because no one's seen you for a really long time. What's with the floating? What's with the ears? Are you even Bryn?
So I'm guessing you're Alyn.
Oh shit! I just look over to Juniper. Juniper's like, I think she might be collided. And Alyn's like, oh fuck. I'm Alyn.
Okay, so I clearly you can tell I don't know you. But my name is Bryn. And I was trapped with another one. I can only assume to be your Bryn. In a town called Barovia. And she is in danger.
Barovia.
And it's really, really, it's too late for me, but you can save her.
What do you mean too late for you?
That's when you hear screams. So syncing our timelines up, everybody please roll me initiative. And then give me the numbers.
23 for Quinny.
6 for Reginald.
10 for Alyn, 16 for Juniper.
I mean, it makes sense because Quinny would have already been leaving.
Yeah. You're in the middle of berating Quinny, being like, first of all, you could have just pulled me aside, and Quinny's like, gone.
Yeah, you're just like, should have written a letter. Bam, out the door. Yeah.
And Bryn, what'd you get?
19.
19, great. Okay, top of the round, Quinny. You hear a crash of glass from downstairs, and screams. What do you do?
I'll run to the door of Reginald's room, and I'll just crack it open a little bit. What can I see?
Down the hallway, you can see people kind of rushing out into the hall to see what's going on. The commotion seems to be coming from the main hall downstairs. Up here, it's everyone doing that classic, like, literally everyone's doing the same thing
Everyone's
you're doing,
doing
just
what I'm doing,
in various degrees of terror.
And you said we're on the second floor with these rooms, right?
That's correct.
Do I have, is there like a banister or anything like that, like overlooking the main room?
There is a stairwell, kind of, think of it almost like a motel, so there's a really, really long hallway full of rooms, and then there's one stairwell kind of at the center.
Okay, so I have to go to the
down.
stairwell to get down then, so I'll go there.
Yep.
Yeah, I'll run the whole way there.
Okay, so, and you're going down the stairs, or you're just peeking down?
Peeking, I guess, to
Cool.
start.
So as you look down the stairs, you can see in the flickering light of the hearth fire, there seems to be a brawl. The walls are soaked in blood. The half orc in the nice dress is she's got a battle axe in each hand, and she seems to be kind of facing off against a creature wearing what seems to be like courtly garb, so like fancy court of King Louis kind of bullshit with frills and the like, but whose skin is this kind of sickly pale gray, and who's bearing fangs, which you quickly identify as vampiric. And it would seem that there were 3 of these creatures just fucking ripping people up, and the one that's facing off against the bartender, whose name is Frigeria Hibisca. The vampire keeps yelling, "Where is she?" And taking swinging strikes.
There are 3 of these
Yeah.
beasties. Okay. I'll summon out frostbite into my hand, and just yell out, "Hey, break it up! This is a family establishment."
Hibisca's like, "That's what I've been saying," and then she swings both axes.
Yeah. They're not letting up at all. They're
not scared of the halfling with the shiny sword.
Well, they're about to be. I mean, obviously I'm with Hibisca. She's been serving us drinks and has just been a goddamn delight all evening.
Yeah.
So obviously, yeah, I'm gonna try something new. It's a new spell that I have. I'm going to cast Command on one of the vampires. You speak a one-word command to a creature you can see within range. The target must succeed on a Wisdom saving throw or follow the command. So it needs to beat a 15.
I rolled a 9, so...
Okay. I just say betray to hopefully add one to our side temporarily.
Turns around and just says, "Clarence, I never cared for you in blue." And Clarence bellows in rage and leaps at him, and they do that stupid thing from True Blood where they just hover above the ground for a minute, being like, "Ah!" And then they smash into each other. Cool. So 2 of them are fighting each other. Bryn, you're next up. You, unlike these guys, know that when you escaped from Castle Ravenloft, you were pursued by vampiric thralls. So you know exactly what's going on down here. I will say, though, that on your initiative order, your mission isn't necessarily to stop these vampires so much as it is to get the information to the Dum-Dums. So I'll leave it up to you what you choose to do.
What time is it?
It's the night is progressed, so dawn is coming rather quickly, but it is not yet here. It's kind of like or the reverse of dusk is. So you can see light on the horizon, but the sun is not yet
That's
risen.
dawn.
Right. So dawn. It's almost dawn.
Okay, but
Dawn
how
point
much
5.
how much time do I have till dawn?
Not a whole lot. This is a real classic end of a movie. Like sun is rising. You don't have much time.
Okay, so I think. So I'm gonna talk to Alyn as quickly as I can and explain what they need to do. So, Alyn, listen. You need to listen really carefully and really quickly to me. All of you are in very severe danger because of me, and I will fix it. You just need to go find your Bryn. You need to seek out a Vistani caravan, and they're going to help you sneak into Barovia and help save Bryn. Do you understand?
Yeah, what direction?
The caravans rove, so it's the kind of thing you would probably ask Fragaria. The problem with Barovia, and I think Bryn would be able to quickly explain this, is it doesn't exactly exist the way most places exist. So you'll basically need the Vistani to find it, let alone enter it.
Okay, I mean, what are we facing there?
I can't go into details right now. You're in a lot of danger. You hear that? You hear those screams? So listen, here's what I need you to do.
In that time, you could have given me, like, I don't know, like a lich, like a bunch of orcs. Like, Jesus, come on.
Here's what I need. Here's what I need you to do. You need to go down and help fight these creatures. When it seems like dawn is about to come up, you need to come back into this room and open the windows with me and the other 3 beings in it. You can open the curtains for me.
Jesus. Okay.
Can you do that?
Yeah, I can do it.
Great.
Yeah.
And with that, Bryn, you begin to prepare. I think we'll say you spend the time trapping the room. So setting up sort of like snares and that sort of thing, so that when they do drag the vamps in, they will be restrained. But the last thing, Bryn, that you no, we'll do that later actually. Great. So that brings us to Juniper. Juniper, you've seen this go down. You see Bryn begin to set traps in the room. Can you roll me a perception check, please?
Juniper?
Yep.
Nat 1.
Cool. Bryn seems like a cool lady. Nothing untoward that you notice. Great.
Yeah, what a neat gal.
What do you do?
I'm just like, well, Alyn seems to be going along with this, so let's round up some fucking things downstairs. I think she just opens the door and
Right.
runs down the hall.
So you arrive to see 2 vampires fighting. Hibisca is like wailing on one of them who's turned away from her, and you see kind of Quinny at the top of the stairs. There's one more vampire who's closing in on a table with a couple of elves and gnomes who are cowering behind a flipped over tavern table.
Mm-hmm. I would like to go for the one that's the one on its own.
Okay,
because
great. So you rush up to it.
What an asshole.
Yeah, truly.
You know?
What do you do?
I am going to. I'm just gonna try to do like 2 quick strikes with my blade of walls.
Okay. Go ahead and roll. And Miles, if you could please roll me a sleight of hand check for setting up the traps.
Cool.
That's a 26 and a 25 to hit.
Those will both hit.
Yay!
That's a 19.
Great. Okay. Very good. So you work quickly. It's just it's nice to be able to trap a room when there's a time limit, but there's also no one in here with you. Normally you have to do this shit while people are attacking you, and it's really nice to just be able to kind of do it on your own. Juniper, go ahead and roll your damage, please.
Okay, so that is the first hit is 10 slashing damage plus 1 radiant damage. And the second is 6 slashing damage plus 3 radiant damage.
Okay, great.
I have improved Divine Smite.
Very nice. The radiant
Which means
damage
all my
is
melee hits get Divine
super
Smite.
effective. Cool. Yes. Alyn.
Alyn has like a moment of just like hesitation and just like, fuck, there's nothing else I can do. Like, shit, I guess get the stupid vampires and runs after Juniper.
Great. So you arrive to the same scene. Juniper is wailing on the singular vampire. 2 are fighting each other with Hibisca raining blows from behind.
I am going to, whichever one is closest to me, which I think is closest to Quinny, right? Yeah. I'm just going to shoot a bunch of magic missiles at it. Let's see how many. Let's just throw 6 magic missiles at it. Yeah. Only 6.
Only 6.
Alan's on a magical diet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's 4 plus 4 plus 5. 13 plus 3, 16, 18. That's 22 force damage.
Great. Vampires looking, both those vampires are looking slightly dazed. Reginald.
Cool. Reginald's hearing like a war breakout. So I think he's going to grab one of the gems out of his pocket and just crack it open and snort all the shit in, like all the smoke that comes out. And then his features just grow more bestial. Like, Quinny, you saw that before in the battle behind the stage. So he's just more lupine. He's got like sharp teeth and shit. And then basically he's just going to storm out of the room ready to fight whoever the bad guys are because he hasn't been out the door yet. So he's just booking it for the lobby.
Great. So you arrive to the scene I've described twice.
Beautiful. I agree. He will, because he knows Juniper. He'll join the fight with Juniper because A, putting one down makes the most sense, and B, he doesn't want to fight anything alone if he doesn't know how tough it is. So he will dash in and start swinging away with his hammer.
Okay, go for it.
Does he have advantage because they're already engaged?
Yeah.
Beautiful. All right, so the first attack is a 21 to hit.
Yep.
Beautiful. And that will do. That is 11 regular damage and 7 fire damage. And he will go with that second attack, baby. He's a monster.
Go for it.
And that one's a 15 to hit.
Yep. Right on the nose.
Beautiful. And that one does. It's a weird world because I'm fighting two-handed, so I get rerolls if the die is super terrible. Okay, beautiful. That is 9 regular damage and 9 fire damage. And because he is in an animal form, he's just almost a Tasmanian devil with the speed of his movement. He gets a 3rd bonus attack.
Okay.
Which comes to, that is an 18 to hit, which will hit because we've already been over that. And that does That is 7 regular damage and 11 fire damage from that attack is
Great.
there. So,
the
those are his attacks.
vampire's still up, but is like the equivalent of vampirically unconscious, like just kind of stumbling around on fire, like minorly on fire, but definitely dazed enough that Juniper, you feel like you could probably grapple it and drag it up to the trap room.
Excellent.
Cool. So, Juniper, we'll say that's your next action. I'm going to take you out of initiative order as you kind of take that vamp off the board. Great. Vamps. So, they're attacking each other. They both hit. So stupid. Yeah, you guys can all go home. I'm just going to roll dice against myself. It's just it's a solo game now. It's like masturbation, but with dice. All right. Oh, fuck.
Nice.
That is max damage on one and almost max damage on the other. So they are ripping each other up pretty good. Neither of them sparkle. It's disappointing for all involved. Great. So they're looking a little wobbly. Quinny, top of the round. Your two vamps are still smacking each other around. What do you do?
I kind of, I guess, like get out of the way on the stairs as like Juniper drags one up. I'm like, what the hell are you doing?
She's like, bring them all up to the room, up to our room.
Quinny like is like, well, I'm not doing that, and I'll just like run down and stab one of them in the back.
Okay. So you're Alyn like, you idiot! Bring them upstairs!
Bryn, what do you yell from upstairs?
Bring them upstairs!
No!
Also, Quinny, you're pretty sure you heard Bryn yell something, and that's just straight up bizarre.
Yeah, I think Quinny's like, no, wait a second, what the fuck? 18 plus some numbers.
It's cool. The 18's good enough for me. Anytime I can remove
Some
math from the
numbers.
world, I will do it.
All right. So,
Wanda Maximoff. No more math.
let me know if I'm correct in assuming that I have sneak attack on the two guys fighting each other.
You do indeed. Yep.
Yeah, okay. So I'm putting my dice together. Yeah, okay. 8, 12, 17, 22, 26 damage.
Cool. So similarly, it kind of stumbles to the ground, down counted to one knee, like it's a hero in Battlefront who's been defeated because they can't show Star Wars characters dying. So chest heaving, just kind of stunned with your blade in its back. I would say they're too big for you to drag. But
yeah.
Reginald could grab this one. Reginald, do you think you would go ahead and do that?
Yeah, if that's the plan, done. Also, internally, he knows this gets him away from the other vampire who's still attacking, so it's a great move for everybody.
Yeah.
Yep. It's the coward's way out, but different. Great. So you grab him, throw him over your shoulder, and start to run up the stairs. Meaning there's just one left, which brings us to Bryn. I think I'm probably going to drop you off the initiative order as well, Miles, simply because I think at this point it's kind of like, again, very rarely do you get to like spring traps by pushing people directly into them.
Yeah.
Rather than like, oh, I hope they step through this tripwire. It's like, fuck you. So
Spiked it.
yeah, exactly. So you quickly rig them up. You notice there's one missing though, and sure enough, you can start to see a glimpse of the sun on the horizon. What do you yell to the people still downstairs?
You need to hurry this up. We've only got a few more minutes.
Great. Alyn, you and Quinny are the only two people still downstairs. You're facing off against a vampire who is admittedly pretty fucked up. What do you do?
I think Alyn just kind of wants to like, these aren't like floating vampires like Bryn, right? Like we're making like contact with them and everything, right?
Yeah, you can attack them. They're not made of mist.
Yeah.
My sword was pretty good on him.
Alyn is just like she's just like really confused and like angry, and there's just like a lot of emotions going on. So I think just for a moment, like she feels a gust of wind and just rage punches the vampire so that they can stun him and haul him out.
Sure.
So
what could go wrong when the wizard gets punched?
Right. Does 19 to hit?
I mean, actually, yeah.
Cool.
That's a good start.
Shit. What am I rolling with for damage? I don't have this.
With a
I know
fist, it's
+2.
1d4.
Oh, that's it? Oh, fuck
You're just
me.
punching. You're an untrained person throwing a punch.
Yeah.
But I'm so ragey. Oh, at least it's a 4, so 6.
You did better than anyone anticipated.
This is true. All right, so yeah, you clock. I think just with like the rage of Mudbutt running through your veins, your hair spikes, Super Saiyan style, as we've established is the way of this, and I think it's the patented Roman Reigns Superman punch, where you just run up and like jump through the air and punch him in the face. It looks more impressive than it is effective, largely because like you don't have any of the weight of actually like throwing a punch. You just kind of fly through the air and hit. But as you do, you just hear an from your Richard punch. It's not quite a Falcon punch, but you get where I'm going. And you clock the vampire, and he goes down. So between Quinny and you, you're doing an awkward hiding a body run up the stairs. Bryn, the final vampire has entered the room, and the sun is beginning to rise. What do you say to the now collected people? Quinny, you enter the room and see Bryn, but you immediately notice that her teeth are jagged fangs, and...
Yeah, immediately it's just, Bryn, what's going on?
Alyn will explain everything. Please, please save her. Alyn, can you open the window? Open the curtains, please.
And Alyn just says, "Nobody ever fucking explains enough," and just marches over to the windows and throws the curtains open.
And as the sunlight begins to shine through from the first rays of dawn, the vampires begin to burn in their traps, and Bryn's skin begins to crisp, flake, and fall away. And you actually see a smile of contentment as she greets the sun. And there's almost a sigh of relief. And she turns just as the fire consumes her, and says one final thing. She says, "You must kill the vampire, Strahd." And with that, Bryn burns to ash.
This episode of Dum-Dums and Dragons features the voices of Ryan LaPlante at the Ryan LaPlante on Twitter, Tyler Hewitt at Tyler_Hewitt on Twitter, Laura Elizabeth at EL Hamstring on Twitter, our amazing special guest, and our fantastic DM Tom McGee at McGeeTD on Twitter. This episode was edited by Ryan LaPlante, and all of Dum-Dums and Dice's art is by Decapitated Markers, or at Decapitated Marker on Twitter. That's MRKR. Our theme songs are And Now for That Massive Coronary and Skipping Through the Orchestra Pit Part 1 by Peter Gresser, and our ad music is No Control and Chiefs by Jazzar, JAHZZAR, all available at freemusicarchive.org. When it comes to Dum-Dums and Dice, you can visit our website at dumdumdice.com. Our Twitter and Instagram are at dumdumdice, and on Facebook at facebook.com/dumdumdice. But most importantly, we've got merchandise at redbubble.com/people/dumdumdice, or you can join our Patreon at patreon.com/dumdumdice. That's DUMBDUMBDICE. Now I'm off to do more magic. See you next episode. Dum-Dums and Dice has to give a special thank you to the supreme beings of our Patreon at this time. Christian Menicola, Long, the Half-Blind Prophet, James Cuellar, DM Rob, Christopher Little, Olin Anderson, Sue One, Devin Boyce, George Dolby, One True Artistry, Orion Birchfield, Anthony Griffin, and Jill and Noel LaPlante. If you want your name to be added to this list, you can join our Patreon too at patreon.com/dumdumdice. Thanks to them, and a little bit of thanks to you.